Hey. And we are live. Hello and welcome to Beyond a Doud, the sub-genre of the Benefit of a Doud podcast. This month featuring arguably the most prolific guest that we've had on this podcast thus far, Mr. Michael Fisher. Michael, how are you doing this evening?
Very well, thank you, Mr. Doud. Although I would not call myself prolific, my production rate has dropped precipitously. It's just that each piece is hopefully a little bit better.
I wasn't going to say anything, but okay. And then also joining us is Mr. Cliff. How you doing, Mr. Cliff?
I'm tired, but that's okay. I'm here. I'm excited.
Yeah,
Good company.
Yeah. I've had a day,
this thing.
but I'll tell you what, sitting down with you gentlemen is a soothing salve to the otherwise dumpster fire that has been my day.
Your guest has a question.
Yes.
Are you running this live? This is a live program?
This is a live program, yeah.
Love to hear that. Do you promote it on Twitter when it goes live, or do you just say, are you just a devil-may-care internet user?
I do now. I had a tweet all written up and ready to go, so now we're now it's out there and people know.
We spare nothing for MrMobile, I just gotta say.
Yeah, we spare no expense, exactly.
The retweet has been executed. Hi.
Oh, God, here we go. Here come the comments. We call this the Fisher effect on the Benefit of a Doud podcast.
Yeah, there's going to be 3 whole people in the chat in a second.
Wow.
All coming from me.
Which would be amazing. But
It would
anyway.
be really funny if one of those was Mr. Rivera.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the other side of this wall already.
Tell him to hop on, see what's going on. So, Michael, I was gonna tell you this off air, but I figured I'll just say it on air. When I was at CES, one of the vendors that I wanted to go see was a company called GamerPod, which builds like exactly what it sounds like, pods specifically for like game streamers that like it basically like you have GamerPod 1.0 beta, and like these guys put together a like a whole like fancy thing with like dual monitors and like ventilation and the whole shebang. And I gotta say, when I saw it, I thought of you.
Adam, I have ventilation. I could have 2 monitors should I choose. The only thing that I suspect my sound booth lacks that the GamerPod has is RGB lighting. And well, let's be honest, I actually would like that a lot in here. So
I was gonna say a fair amount of polish too, and your ventilation is
yeah, that is accurate. My ventilation is a CPU fan that I think broke probably 10 years ago. So yeah, you're right.
There you go. But Michael, welcome to Beyond a Doud. You've been on here a couple of times talking about Star Trek cruises and folding phones, and then more folding phones. And I'm sure we will probably talk about more folding phones at some point this evening.
Why don't we?
But this is Beyond a Doud. This is the Fisher Show. So we want to hear about you. We want to hear about like what's going on. And like one of the usual like icebreaker questions that I usually talk about is I like to talk about people's origin stories. Like, how did you get into this thing here that we do? Because I think you might have an interesting one.
Oh man. Well, I love it. You're sure we haven't talked about this before? Because I feel like we have.
Not positive, but
well, you know what? It's actually good timing for that, because this is a very good time to be a Star Trek fan with new shows coming online all the time, and one of them just premiered its season. Star Trek Picard season 3 just started a couple days ago, and it definitely did put me in mind of in that kind of 3rd grade mindset I had in the mid 90s or early 90s, whatever that was, when really the seeds for my current profession were sown, or my professional choices were sown. Like, I grew up a giant Star Trek fan who also liked talking to his friends and didn't get to very often because I lived out in the rural, wasteland of Long Island and whatever.
Right.
I wanted 2 things at the same time. I wanted blinky little boxes that lived in my pockets that were cool. And
check.
If those could be made to communicate directly with my friends, that would be even more cool.
Check.
So,
okay.
The late 90s rolled around and suddenly I could buy one of those, even as a not well-off high school kid. prices came down so quickly. I kind of fell in love, and I was 18 and my brain was still plastic and susceptible to influence, and I never fell out of love with mobile phones specifically. And
Nice.
yeah, about 12 years after that, when I decided to make a change in my life from professional actor to maybe something else, I wrote a little blog called Pocket Now that you're very familiar with, and I said, would you hire me? Because I think my opinions might be interesting to read.
Okay, so Pocket Now was your first gig. Okay, because I knew
Yeah.
that you kind of hovered around on like the pre-central forums and stuff like that back in the Fat Riker's beard days.
Fats Riker beard.
Fats
Yes, that's
Riker
correct.
beard. That's what. That's right. I meant to say that properly. And and I actually remember one of the first things I did when I came onto Pocket Now myself was I name dropped Fats Riker beard to you, and you're like, "Holy shit, that's you!"
Yeah, because we three met before I was ever in the space. Like we three met on those forums, didn't we?
Yeah, basically. I mean, yeah.
I would say that's true.
I
I was a viewer of the, was it the precast? No,
Probably.
whatever
The Derek
pre-central's webcast, the Derek and Dieter and other guy show.
Keith.
That's right.
Right,
Yes.
right, yeah.
Yep.
Wow,
Yep,
that's that's taking things way back. Man.
Yeah.
But Cliff actually worked for Pre-Central's chief rival.
I did.
And by worked,
Webbo West Roundup.
I'm using very large air quotes here, but
yeah.
but yeah, so that was fun. Good times.
It was, and it was a good time to get into it. It was a really good time to get into the space. Even then, and I think this is something that people should keep in mind as they try to get into the space now, if they're interested in YouTubing or writing or whatever. Even in 2011, voices both inside and outside my head were like, "Isn't it too late to get into tech blogging? Like, hasn't everyone already carved out their own little subdomain there?" And no, it wasn't true then, and it's not. I don't think it's true now.
As it turns out, no. Yeah, there's
formats change, but
there's always room for room for more voices. I gotta think. Especially if you have a unique one, or if you're generic as fuck, like benefit of a doubt.
Hey, you can't underestimate the power of a pun.
That's right.
And I think, yeah, you guys bought a lot of runway with that excellent pun.
that was Cliff's idea. And oh, by the way, speaking of which, Cliff, I was doing that, that 30-second countdown thing. Can we do like little benefit of a doubt logos going up through the, like, how the dots were going up? Anyway, it's fine.
I like that countdown. That graphic is pretty
that's
cool.
Not even the one I made. You used the canned one.
Oh, well, still. I want you to take that one and like just make it a little benefit of a doubt.
I'll have to brush up on my After Effects.
Yeah. Get to work
here.
there. Get to work there. What am I paying you for? I'm not. But anyway.
Get what you pay for.
So Pocket Now was your first gig. I wasn't I wasn't sure about that. And you have a strong theater background, which is something that we all share. But you know what? I believe we have talked about that. So let's move on to something a little bit more current. Star Trek Picard. I asked you for your review on Twitter the other day, and I never got one. So what do you think? I mean, granted, season 2 was a very low bar.
Yeah.
So
season 2 was absolutely devastating waste of time. But and that's why I paused, because season 2 started out just incredibly. That season premiere was. I watched it live, as we talked about last time. I watched it live on the cruise ship, on Star Trek The Cruise, and we were all just enraptured by it. And I think it was such a strong start, and then the season totally fell apart. So that's why I worry about season 3 not living up to its own premiere.
There's a lot of hype going into this. Like, I don't even think season 2 had this much hype. Like, season 3 is just like a whole lot of
because from the standpoint of the entire show, what have a lot of us wanted this to be the entire time? We've wanted it to be a TNG reunion.
Right.
Patrick Stewart, and I understand him, did not want to do that. He wanted to do something different, and so did, I think, some of the showrunners. And who can blame them? You should do something different.
Absolutely.
Now, it makes sense that there's a lot more hype, though, going into season 3, because it is the TNG reunion that so many of us did want. And they started that off with a strong episode that was also, you didn't go, I don't know if you noticed, you could not go 4 seconds without an Easter egg of some kind. Like, if you've watched enough Star Trek, like, it's it was almost exhausting.
I
And
have historically been really bad at picking out Easter eggs.
dude, like the density of Easter eggs in that episode is so extreme that I didn't dislike it. In fact, they all worked on me, but I also am very aware of my own susceptibility to cheap tricks.
Oh yeah, fan service all the way.
It's definitely one for the fans. I was going to say. I mean, even and for those of you who haven't seen it yet, I will just reference a few things that I don't think are going to ruin the episode from anybody. But I mean, like the flute from that episode where he lived an entire different life.
The Inner Light.
Oh yeah, that was a great one. I love that. Yeah,
right. It is a great episode. But yeah, I mean, I guess Laris could have just whipped out a keyboard. Which, by the way, that keyboard that they had on that episode ended up being something that, again, if we're talking about tech that has been brought to life,
that exists.
That people now have those roll-out keyboards. That's actually a thing. Or
yeah, that one from the episode where he fell in love with the woman,
the subordinate.
Yeah,
the commander, right. I believe. Was she commander?
Neela Darren, Commander Neela Darren. Yeah.
Oh, wow, nice reference.
I can't remember the name of the episode though. That's a bummer.
That's okay.
Yep, there was that one. The Mintakan tapestry. Did you catch that on the back of his chair? Like, this is like the low-hanging fruit. But man, down to I know. See, even the dogs are excited.
I know. This is just how we roll now. Just go for it. I'm not even gonna mute. I'm just gonna say screw it. Let them bark.
Even the sound cues, like even just these tiny little things. If you freeze most scenes in the show, you will see something sitting on a shelf somewhere that is a callback. That isn't just a callback. It's just sitting there because they wanted some set dressing. It's like there's a reason for it. And the reason is very well thought out. It's impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I watched it like really late at night, so I was. And again, I'm historically very bad at Easter eggs, but I mean, obviously, I picked up the flute. That one was fair.
That was right in your face.
That was very low hanging fruit.
The Enterprise from the E with the painting of the D that was in.
The
ready room from the E, I believe it was.
Yeah, and just the fact that they're on a Neo Constitution class starship, which is called back to the original, which I liked. I kind of like that. It's like,
am I right in remembering that the Titan was actually based on a fan model that was created for the online game?
Yeah, the Shangri-La, I think was the name of that ship.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the ship porn is tremendous, and the music cues that they're using. I mean, it is straight up pandering, but I'm here for it.
And you know what I really liked was in the episode where 7 of 9, again, I'm not going to give anything away, but like does the thing that 7 of 9 is not supposed to do, and like the captain like just kind of wakes up and I'm just like, yeah, she's fired. So effing fired.
It's so wonderful though. And even her portrayal, because she's we meet her in this episode in a not great part of her life. Mm-hmm. Her performance is so much more in line with the 7 we remember from Voyager, which is not to say that her previous work in Picard is, not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but because a lot of time has passed. But I think it's a lot easier for those of us who watched 7 of 9 for 4 years in the 90s to kind of relate to this version of that character, because she is so much more like contained and packed in and kind of repressed and tense.
And you know what? I dig that new captain. Like I know he's supposed to be a jerk, and I know we're not supposed to like him, but I'm picking up what he's putting down. I'm just saying.
His performance is so satisfying. He's so much fun to hate.
Yes.
Riker, what's that Riker line? It's like not a fan of jazz. He's like, no, I am not.
He's like, I'm still an admiral and I'm still a captain. Well, you're a retired admiral and you don't have a ship, so I really have no interest in what you're saying.
It was so good.
Yeah, and it's like one of those things where it's like, I bet I would be willing to bet a majority of the fandom was just like, oh, how dare they speak that way to Jean-Luc and Riker, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, he's got a point. It's like,
man, yeah.
So my
Captain Jellicoe
was actually,
all over again.
Oh, but like concentrated. It's like if you've had if you've had salsa versus like chili extract. This was the chili extract version of.
Absolutely.
And the experience that I had watching this was both really nice because of all the fan service, but also frustrating because my wife was sitting next to me on the couch as I'm watching this, and she's just on her phone watching TikToks quietly. And
As
Always.
quietly
I
as
am
TikToks
enjoying
can
this
be.
so much. Yeah, as they do. And I'm just like, I kept looking over her, like expecting to at least get some enjoyment out of it. And she's just the
Gone.
whole time. There's just no, she's
Well,
not watching it at all, first of all. But it's so, I want it to be able to, it's a premiere. It's the last season, and it probably the last with next generation characters on any kind of major role, I would think.
Until we get that Riker spinoff.
But I'm just like, please, like, put your phone down and enjoy this with me. And
Was she a Trek fan or not?
Not at
Yeah,
all.
I was gonna.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like I learned long ago that if I'm going to have a moment like that, it's like we can watch something else together. This I'm going to go out in the garage
This is mine.
with the spare TV that's halfway broken, and I'm going to have this experience by myself because I can't. Like I am that small of a person that if someone is next to me on their phone watching something, ask David ML. I used to yell at him like he was 9. Like, why is your phone on? We're watching this as a family. Like I can't do it. I just can't do it. If someone else isn't invested, I'm like, it takes me out of it.
It really was this close to taking me out of it, and then I was able to mentally block it out, and then eventually
You're
she
stronger
left, and I was
than I
happier.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, once upon a time, I was invited to go to a Cubs game for the company that I worked for, and my boss was like, just so you know, this person, they can be a little bit of annoying. I'm like, dude, I can ignore my wife for 9 innings.
Welcome to the wife badgering hour on benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. But yeah, if someone else is doing something next to me while I'm enjoying something, I don't care. It's fine. I've got my thing.
I wish I could be.
Just
that
keep
way.
it quiet.
God, you guys are awesome.
Well, thank you. Not as awesome as you, though, sir. But all right, so we're 17 minutes into this, and we haven't seen a foldable phone yet. So what's going on? What's going on with that?
I'm not allowed to show you the one I'm using. But here's another one. I can show you this one. That's fun.
Can't you do first impressions of the Oppo thing there, or do you have a review embargo?
No, the Oppo review is already up.
He's
Good
already
research, dude. Nice.
That's a good point. That is fair. And actually, you know what? I started watching that this morning, and I had to stop because of the aforementioned dumpster fire.
Yeah,
but
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I know you've had a rough day. I don't mean to give you a hard time.
No, you are absolutely right. Shame on me. Why don't you fully shame me by give us your Reader's Digest version of your
of the Flip,
so that way I don't have to go watch that piece of crap later.
Yeah, no, you don't want to waste all that time with me in London. No, it is a very compelling little device. If you like that Galaxy Z Flip 4, you will like an awful lot about this. It is very similar. It goes a very different way toward achieving the same ends. I will say that. Like,
okay,
they use a MediaTek processor to get the price down, and the performance is actually quite good. They put a big ass cover display on the outside, which is awesome for selfies. And what's the other major thing? Oh, the crease. It's like invisible. When you open it up, it's like it's not even a folding phone, which is really, really, really cool.
Nice.
My objections are that, first of all, for 850 pounds, it's 50 pounds less than the Galaxy Flip 4 in the UK, which is also pretty cool. But
F you, Samsung.
Yeah, but the problem is Oppo gives you so much more area outside. They give you a huge, like an industry leading size of that external cover screen, and they
don't use it.
They do not use it. Like they literally, they almost literally just Xeroxed the Samsung widgets. So they give you a screen that's the right aspect ratio and so much larger, and then you can do exactly the same things with it as you can on the Flip 4, which is the dumbest decision I've ever seen.
Well, and also considering that this is, Samsung's on their 4th generation, there is a vibrant Reddit community of people that have modded their Flip 4s to do basically anything you want on that outer screen. You're not going to get that with a Vivo.
Yeah, I actually watched Oppo.
Oppo, sorry. Yeah,
that's all right. I actually watched a video from, I think, Gadget Goddess, showcasing how to use, maybe Samsprung was the name of the app on.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, and believe she put it on the Find N2 Flip. So I did it too. And I was like, so you can do it, but it's like every third-party app forcing a phone to do something it doesn't want to do. It's janky and weird and buggy, and I took it off like in 15 minutes.
It's kind of like that Android app that did the dynamic island on Android.
Yes.
What was that called? Dynamic Spot or something like that?
Like that. Yeah. It's exactly like that. Like for your first half hour, you're like, oh, cool. I have what I wanted.
Yeah.
But it's like half broken and bad.
Yeah.
And the bummer is go ahead, Cliff. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say one thing I've experienced with BBK phones in general, not so much with OnePlus, but is that the Western language optimization for Color OS is just words are like you get like little dots sometimes where you're supposed to get like just those kind of things. The Color OS does have some neat features and very customizable, but it just leaves me frustrated at times.
You know, it's funny. I didn't see. I know what you're talking about. I see those like a lot on Vivo and Xiaomi phones. I didn't see them much on the Oppo, but there are a lot of these things we've been complaining about for so long that you kind of feel like an idiot for bringing them up again, because at this point you've given up all hope that any of this will be corrected. But you know that dumb thing where it's like your phone is off, and on almost any Android phone you can double click the power button to quickly jump into the camera.
Yeah.
On these freaking phones from Oppo and Huawei and Xiaomi, you have to double click the volume button.
Really? Oh,
doesn't work half the time, and B, if you're listening to music or a podcast like I always am, it doesn't work at all. It's the volume rocker. So there's little things like that, and I go into some detail in the video about which ones are annoying, but there are so many of them.
Link in the show notes.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. But there are so many of them that, you know, if you're importing a Chinese phone, well, that's on you. You're going to have to live with it because the phone isn't built for your thing. If this is something they're building for the global market, maybe you should think about adapting a lot more of those.
Spend a little more time on that,
especially
rather
on a phone
than
that is well, maybe not your flagship, but still, you know,
but high visibility,
like $1,100 basically, or $1,000.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. High visibility too, for sure. Especially in that beautiful lavender color. Actually, I dig that color.
I dig that color too. I dig the black version even, and I typically don't like the black or white versions of Review Unit because they tend to be the most boring, but this one like glimmers like this, this foam. Yes. It's like a stone.
Delicious.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Well, I'm looking forward to and I'm fairly sure, I know that there's an embargo on reviews until the end of the month, but I'm fairly sure we can talk about it. The Honor VS is coming out very soon, which I'm interested in.
Yeah, it's been out in China for like ever.
Right.
Yeah.
But spoiler alert, I'll be doing that for Slash Gear, so yay.
Hey.
Yeah, it'll be nice to get behind a foldable tablet again, because I haven't personally used one since the Fold 2 when Samsung had that insane 100-day return policy, and I returned mine after 89 days.
Wow, Fold 2.
Yeah. Lots changed since then. I did have the Flip 4 though, so I'm not completely out of touch in the foldable market.
I would like to give Samsung props really quick though. Specifically, you mentioned Samsung and third-party non-root apps to modify your phone, but Samsung has done something really cool over the last 5 years, and that's to develop and continue to update Good Luck, which allows you to do some while it's from the manufacturers, to customize your phone in ways that it doesn't do things out of the box. I think that's really cool. I don't know a whole lot of other manufacturers that do that.
You know what's crazy? I was visiting Samsung in Korea late last year, and we had a lunch with a couple executives, and I did not expect this at all. One of the very few executives who were attending this lunch was the woman in charge of Good Luck.
Oh.
And I was like, first of all, LOL, I didn't even know Samsung. Like you can get the impression that Samsung doesn't let the Good Luck team like out of the basement because they don't seem to give them any resources.
She have a leash on when
right. Like that's I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And I made the point to her that I'm sure you track this, and I'm sure I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but in the West, anytime I criticize anything about Samsung software, there is always a Redditor or a Twitter reply guy within 20 seconds who's like, you should just try Good Luck. Just use Good Luck. Good Luck fixes this. "What are you, an idiot?" And I'm like, "You guys are well known across the nerditude of the internet."
I mean,
Absolutely.
hey, if you got to pick a hill to die on, why not? Why
You
not
know,
good luck?
yeah, no, for real. And my beef with Good Luck is that like it's great, but the front end to get to download those customizations is so
Yeah.
bad. It's like they didn't even they put it through Google Translate and did not copy edit it.
Not to mention, then you have to open up their app store
Right.
and surf through the 8,000 freemium games that they're promoting, and while it
Yep.
tries to
Yeah.
install other things on your phone, you're searching for Good Luck. And
Yeah.
I mean, there are those hoops as well. But yeah, I'm just happy that it's there again, because
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody. It's like the least Apple-y thing that Samsung does.
It's true. Yeah, and it is cool. No, that's a great point. No one else really does that at all.
All right. Well, that
And with
was a
that-
nice little stroll down Samsung memory lane. I would like to point out that I am working on my review of the Galaxy S23 vanilla version right now, and I gotta say my working headline is I regret buying the Ultra because this is a damn fine phone.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, like the battery
Is it
life is
though?
solid.
Just kidding.
The cameras are solid. Now, the caveat here is I have not put the cameras up onto my 32-inch screen. I haven't put the photos up on my 32-inch screen yet. But just like at a glance, like I was shooting sample photos yesterday, like Ultra versus S23, and like side by side, even like a 10x zoom or even 30x zoom, fairly similar shots. So
No.
yes,
No, put them on a
yes.
32-inch screen and you will
I
change
haven't
your
done that
mind.
yet. I
Yeah.
have not done that yet.
That's ridiculous.
I understand. I understand, but I mean, seriously,
Just swatted your shot like someone that swats shots. Just get that out of here.
no, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, that is a very big caveat. I understand that, but
Yeah.
Samsung has done some very good things, especially in terms of battery life of this generation.
Yeah, that using that because it uses the HN2 like the rest of them, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So like, yeah, and I think that's my that's why the minute somebody brings up a phone like the S23, I like my
Your eyes glaze over.
well, yeah, like my my CPU
Doesn't
meter.
even fold, bro.
No, it yeah, because it peaks. I'm just like, oh, I have to actually try to pay attention because I am instinctively bored. Because the number one thing that
wow.
most phones do, particularly in a price class like the S23, is in 2023 they do well. They do what you expect. They better damn well last all day, and the camera
Right.
better be pretty good. And now
Right.
that we've reached such parity across the non-folding segments, it's like, yeah, it's very difficult for me to get excited about those things. But how much is the 23 again? $999?
No, that's the $799,
isn't it? Yeah.
I was way off. Yeah, that's
well, no, the $999 is the S23
Which
Plus, which is
I
over
don't know
here
why
somewhere.
that phone exists, but that's a different conversation.
yeah.
Yeah, well,
So
I kind of think that Samsung should be, if they're not already, they should be preparing to just replace the S Plus version with the Flip and just call it a day.
that would be interesting. Yeah, I'm sure that would rub some people's fur the wrong way, but I think it's like the Flip feels like it wants to come in and replace one of those Strata. I agree, because the Fold came in and replaced the old Note,
right?
Even though the Note got moved into the Ultra. Like that reshuffle feels right in a long term kind of
yeah. They should be working on that. So
you're absolutely right, though. I mean, when you're paying $800 for a phone, I mean, competency is table stakes at this point. Like, or even if you're
the phone physically works,
right?
Right. Yeah, we started getting to that point where Russell Holly started I think it was Russell started subtitling a lot of reviews in the back end during the Android Central days, which like, the Samsung Galaxy S8 is a phone that exists. And I was like, yeah, we're getting to that point, right?
Yeah, that sounds like a Russell Holly thing.
I feel like it in this is a good time to segue, I think, into your content, Michael, because as I can't remember if you mentioned this pre-launching, before we went live, but the fact that you have been producing less frequent videos, but I feel like the while your narrative has always been one of your storytelling has always been one of your strongest points. I feel like ever since your pocket nowadays,
Absolutely.
right? I feel like you've taken that to the next level, and it's more than just a phone review, even when it is a review, because you're also putting, not unlike your former, I guess he was your roommate, the Unlocker.
No, I didn't live with David, but he's my studio mate. So yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, you guys were
Office
together so much, I assumed it was something like that. But,
yeah, no, we'll be married soon. Don't worry.
Nice. You guys are gonna
congratulations,
like the necklace that comes apart.
Yeah, there you go.
It's in the shape of a phone. Yeah.
Exactly, a folding phone. You get one
a
half,
folding
and he gets
phone.
the other half.
A folding phone. Yeah.
And so, tell me what your journey to this new cadence and the evolution of that style that you're at now.
Yeah, you know that feeling you have when you don't have to make videos. We can be talking about articles or podcast episodes, but you know that feeling you get when you're like, well, I got to make that. I have the product, I have the thing, and it's time. The embargo's lifting or the deadline is here, and I have to write the thing, and I don't know what to say. That is how I feel, right? Right. Like that's how I feel right now about the S23 Ultra.
Day.
Like, yeah, when you get to this point of plateau across the segment, the only way that one of the only ways you can achieve success with producing a piece of content around it is to have a different angle, or just to work your ass off. Like, I feel like Brandon Lee just posted a 50-minute video on the Galaxy S23 Ultra, and it's like, wow, 200 settings to change when you first buy it, or something like that, like 200 tips. And it's like, that's cool. That's a different angle. That's a useful thing. To your point about storytelling, like I have to come at it from the angle of how can I tell an interesting story anchored by this product.
Mm-hmm.
And when that doesn't come naturally, well, the production rate slows down. And I could do 2 videos a week again, but then you're going to end up with this situation where you are on autopilot and you're doing the creative thing of like, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Here's another video. It's a phone. It's not that different, but there's some different things. Let's get to it. And it's like, I've seen that video 500 times. I never need to see that video again. I never need to make that video ever again. That's right.
Right.
I
think creatives who work in, whether it's reviewing phones, right? Or in my case, I was at the time until the last, not quite a year, I was working for a resort. But in both cases, those are things that are very cyclic, right? In my case, it was literally seasons and a lot of the same events. And so after you've done that for a while, you really do feel like you're in Groundhog Day.
Oh,
I imagine it's very similar for you. And at some point you just hit that wall and you're like, well, I need something different, or I'm going to be him falling off the.
And I've had similar situations where I have to sit down and write a review where I think to myself, how am I going to get 2,000 words out of this? Because it's just, it's the same, same stuff from last year, which was the same stuff from the year before. And, at the same time, I just get into a zone and, I start writing and writing and writing. And when I look up, it's like, oh, here's 2,800 words. That's great. And it's like, you don't even,
man. That's the other side of it, dude. Like, cause I'll start and I'm just like, well, you know what? I've got to crank this out. I think I've got an angle. Let me just start. It'll probably be a short one. And then of course it's 17 minutes long and it's an edit that takes forever. And oh my God, that's the other side of the trap.
It very much is. And in fact, I mean, I think Cliff and I can attest to, like, we've done some reviews of like some fairly minor devices on this. Like, one of them was a flashlight, and so I sat down with Cliff. I'm like, this is going to be a 10-minute video tops, and like, before we know it, we're like at 30 minutes and we're talking about how we're blinding raccoons in the woods.
But well, that's what, and you can do that, and I think that dovetails with what I was going to say too, is like, I found it a lot easier to make videos about a year ago. I was having an awful lot of personal life stuff. Like, I was going through an existential crisis of sorts personally. And I was like, I need to say this to someone. I need to say this to a group of people that will listen to me. So if I graft my midlife crisis onto a phone review.
You're
Let's see.
adorable if you thought that was a midlife crisis.
Well, it kind
Anyway.
of felt like it. Let's see how many people will put up with that. Let's see how far I can push this. And the reality was that enough people watched and responded to it that it sort of gave me permission then to keep trying to make reviews interesting in that way. And
Yeah.
you guys, you're making the other point. Like it can be a flashlight. It can be a cereal. It can be a potato. It doesn't matter ultimately what you're reviewing if you have enough people who are coming there to see you and hear your take on it. And that's why, you know, and that's changed a lot, because when we started, I really wanted to have a lab and I wanted to do objective stuff and be like, here's the data. I'm going to help you make a buying decision. That's just not what it is anymore. It's, hey, come hang out with me and I'm going to tell you some kind of story that's anchored by the iPhone 11D4, you know?
Understood. I mean, you know, it's one, I mean, and I'm glad Cliff brought this up, because I definitely love your narratives and your narrative style. Like, I remember with your OnePlus 11 review, I mentioned in my review about how, like, this year there was a regular and a pro and a T. Then the next year there was a pro and a T. Then the next year there was just a T. I mean, but you were like, I when I watched your video, I'm like, well, shit, he's right, because you're talking about, like, first they had USB-A, then they had USB-C, then they had USB-A again. First they had a switch, now they don't have a switch.
Freaking
like,
seesaw, man.
But I mean, like, you just got so much more in depth with, like, all the things that have been changing. I'm just like, you know, I think I put up a painting. You painted a mural. It was beautiful.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You know, that is very. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Michael. Please
no,
sir.
I just. Okay, so I feel like most, even Chinese, and I'm not insulting Asian phone manufacturers, but sometimes they feel like, especially with like your Xiaomi's and maybe even Oppo to some extent, but just kind of, to use an overused analogy, right? But throwing stuff up against the wall and see what sticks, right? But OnePlus's product strategy for the last 4 years has just felt schizophrenic, like like you've just mentioned. And this is one of those where I really wanted to. I wish I could time travel and also be the fly on the wall. I really wanted, because here's the thing: just because usually if something looks schizophrenic, right, or it doesn't make sense, it's because you don't know all the details, all the facts and everything.
Oh, no question.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yes.
And so there has to be a reason. And I mean, I do have to think some of it had to do with Carl Pei leaving.
Sure.
Direction, and maybe, you know, there's the shifting of the cards, so to speak, shuffling of the cards or shuffling the chairs on the deck within BBK, and a lot of things. But I mean, just why make a product choice to in your latest product move it down to USB 2 from USB 3? Like, those are the kind of things I'm just like.
And here's the thing: the companies need to make hard decisions sometimes. Sometimes it's for cost control. Sometimes they can't get the part they want. Sometimes they're being forced to use the. There are so many reasons, and they could help themselves by, when the time comes for the briefing, deciding in advance that, okay, these are secrets we don't necessarily need to keep from a strategy perspective. We're not worried about Samsung finding out that we had to use this component because whatever. But so often, 90%, like, we'll ask it in the Q&A at the end of a briefing, where it's like, why did you guys do this? And it's like, and then obvious, like, our dear friends in PR, their eyes will shift to a different part of their screen where they've prepared the script response.
Because they knew the question was incoming.
The users were really asking for this and you're just, it is every part of, like, my willpower is going to restraining my hand from hitting the spacebar and unmuting myself and saying bullshit. I don't even know if I can.
Are you having a poker face moment? I don't know if you've watched that series, but on Peacock.
It sounds like I would relate. I have not. No.
Basically,
Natasha
the premise. The premise is first of all, it's a Ryan Johnson show, so you need to know that going in. But the premise is a woman who can just tell when people are lying, and like anytime anybody lies to her, just bullshit.
What I love about this show, just very quickly, is the fact that it's got a very what was the name? Sorry, this is great TV. It was an 80s show with the actor was the guy who read the story to his grandson in The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
And I cannot think of the
Is it Paul Judd Hirsch? No, I don't know. Who that
No,
is.
I know who you're talking about, and I cannot remember.
Well, anyway,
Yeah.
but she has adopted his mannerisms and his style. She always smokes anyway as like a real person, but she's got this sort of pseudo New York accent, and it has a very like 80s.
Yeah.
But it has a very like late 70s, early 80s sort of like
Love that. Well, it's like it's the same thing that Judge Judy, imbued all of her episodes with. Sir, don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining, sir.
It is very similar to that. Yes.
That's what I want to say in these briefings. It's like, guys, you could tell us the truth, or you could tell us something close to the truth, but you've had a copywriter write you a bullshit excuse, and then you have been forced to feed it to us by these executives who think that they can control the narrative in this way, and we're just going to call bullshit. Sorry.
And just for the record, we are not talking about any specific company here. So
that would be a relief. Every company does this.
Yeah. And it's
some are worse than others.
You get to that point in the QA, and you're just like, I need to ask this question. You need to give us this answer. Now that we've done those, can we move on to the real stuff here?
Yeah. Well, then that's why people criticize me for going to launch events. It's like flying across the whole Atlantic Ocean just to go see a phone.
Oh, I saw that thread.
Carbon footprint shit, like all this stuff, and I'm like, okay. While I was there, yes, I attended the launch event. I also drank with the product manager of the thing, and I got to hear a bunch of stuff that informs my opinions about the product and helps me deliver a better product of my own.
Yeah.
Eat it.
So to those of you who are thinking about jumping into these conversations and complaining about tech reviewers flying all over the world to complain about our carbon footprint, there's your answer right there, from courtesy of Mr. Michael Fisher.
Eat it.
Eat it.
Bullshit.
If you want to be jealous that you weren't able to go, you are more than welcome to express that. But
I wonder if El Jefe is still enjoying the conversation.
Oh, he left. He's gone. He's out.
Oh, sad.
Yeah,
I think that would happen about when I couldn't remember the actor's name. That's when the viewership went down.
Way to go, Cliff.
Once again.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
Honestly, they can't all be home runs.
If I had a nickel for every time I couldn't remember something on this show, I would not need to monetize.
I do wonder, though, that this has got to be the nightmare in every PR director's head, or third-party marketing firm when they're doing a launch like that. If that's how they've gone, is that if you do have the CEO who decides to be more or even just the product manager for that line, right? That's up there, and they decide to be transparent and actually, even if it is with some marketing speak, like say more honest answers for the things that for the choices that were made. If they misspeak once, the people in your industry will just eat them alive, and it'll be clicks upon clicks upon clicks upon clicks.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it's a safe route to go. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the other side of it, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, what is the easily available memory that we all have of a carrier that decided to stop playing the game that way?
And then it became
so huge that it bought one of its immediate competitors, and now it's the biggest. Like,
it's true.
It's not the biggest by number, but it's like the biggest. It has the most momentum of any carrier. When T-Mobile decided that they were going to do the shtick of putting their CEO in pink sneakers and making him drink a Red Bull and drop 15 F-bombs in his first 5 minutes on stage, I was like, what? This is either going to like work tremendously well, or it's going to just drive them into the ground. And what do you know? It worked tremendously well.
It worked tremendously well.
We were all sitting there in the audience, we're waiting for another boring press event, and suddenly everyone was awake.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I miss that guy. What was it? John
Ledger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I miss that guy. I really wish that he was still
if you ever want to see a hilarious picture, go and find
I know the one you're talking about.
The AT&T picture, his executive picture.
Yes.
It's like literally like bizarro version of him.
It's like a mirror universe where he's the man. And for sure. Oh God.
But all right, well, Michael, it has been amazing talking to you, but we're not done yet. You have the unique opportunity, sir, to answer my lightning round questions twice. Because we tried this once and it didn't go well. But not only that, but they've kind of evolved since then, and like the thing I originally wanted to do with it kind of changed. So now we use these questions to cap off a good Beyond a Doubt episode. So you have opted to receive the questions in advance. So hopefully you've done your preparation.
I have not.
Okay, I was going to say, hopefully you've got your corporate answer over on the side of the monitor here,
right.
But your corporate approved answer. But we're going to go ahead and dive right in here.
Question.
And, yes.
How long do I have for each answer? Do you want one sentence? Is that what the deal is?
Oh, whatever. I mean,
how much of a lightning strike is this?
30 seconds. I mean,
okay, cool.
Some answers are really great, and we can talk for 10 minutes about it. It doesn't really matter. So
just hit me with the buzzer when I'm talking to them.
That's okay. Well, I'll do that. Yeah, I've actually got one right here. I don't. Anyway, so first question: are you a roamer, or do you have one set location for work? I pretty much already know the answer.
I'm a digital roamer, man. I like working from coffee shops and boats and ferries and planes. I like being out and about when I'm working.
Excellent, excellent. What is the last song or artist you listened to while you were working?
There's a great playlist I have on Spotify called Pen to Paper, and it has a lot of instrumental music. But if I had to boil it down to one artist, Emancipator is pretty well represented in that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's one I'm not familiar with. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
But and I like that you are so eloquent with your words, Mr. Sir. Pen to Paper. I love the name of the playlist.
Thanks. This is pretentious nonsense. That's what I like.
It really is, but you know what? It works for you. Anyway, what's one word that a PR person can put into an email subject that gets an instant delete? And this can be a whole category of words. You don't feel like you're limited to one.
Hey, YouTuber. Hi, dear, nice day. Or hey, Marquez.
I've gotten two of those three. I'll let you guess which is the one I haven't.
Unbelievable.
Oh, hey, Marquez. Which we gotta get Marquez on here. Anyway, what's one thing that you wish all PR people knew about you or about your content?
Anything. There's so much.
Again, it doesn't have to be one. It can be 5 things.
Yeah, there's. I feel like we have to separate the cold pitches from the other things. Like if you're talking PR people, I mean I assume you're asking about the professionals who want to do a good job and do take care of us and et cetera.
Yes. I mean, really, it could be a little column A, a little column B, whatever.
Yeah, the cold pitch people cannot be helped. But
it's a job, man. It's a job.
No, the real PR folks whom I respect and who take care of us. I guess the one thing is, they already know the most important thing, which is that I like to be treated like more like a traditional journalist than an influencer, even though I'm not a capital J journalist. We've talked about that before. I blur more lines than you're allowed to at the Verge or the Times.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's what I like to have acknowledged, that it's like, we're not going to treat you like a hired gun, and we're not going to try and act like you getting a review sample is some kind of incentive. And
right.
Yeah. And most of them already do, I feel like PR people get lumped in with a lot of the folks you really don't want to hear from, who are pitching you stuff using the wrong name, pitching you stuff you would never cover and have done no research. And that is not a PR, like that's like the lowest level email vulture, whereas like the PR people they've gotten a bad name as a result of that kind of lower 10%.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is obviously a class of, there are various levels of, PR people that we deal with. And like, most of the people that I really enjoy dealing with, I went out of my way to go see them while I was at CES, just because, we have a good relationship and I want to maintain that.
I've been surprised at how often they've turned into like friendships, first of all. And
sure.
Yeah. I've never expected in my life. And full disclosure, like my girlfriend works in PR, so like I have a cool kind of side view into that world. And there's one thing that you never really hear about, and it's how freaking hard it is, because it is not easy.
No, I have zero doubt about that. In fact, I've told PR people, like, look, I know you have I know you have a really hard job, and I really appreciate the fact that you're doing it this well.
It's great. I couldn't do it. I'll tell you, I'd lose my
Oh
job
yeah,
second day.
So
it always amazes me when people leave one side to go to the other, because I understand that you bring that knowledge, but it just seems like it just seems like a step down in terms of the enjoyment factor, or the I don't know.
Yeah. Anytime anything goes wrong, it's on you.
Exactly.
Yeah, and there's some notable names that have made that jump. Brad Mullen, Sasha Segan. Those are the two that come immediately to mind. But Dieter,
Well, Dieter didn't go to PR, and neither did Sasha. But like, hopping the fence to like, the corporate world is a different thing.
So anyway,
I always wonder, real quick though, when you get these massive pitches, like, I mean, because I assume a lot of people are getting these same pitches, but like the ones you described, are they just buying an email list from somebody?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, 100%.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Otherwise, the Hey Marquez thing just doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it's just an autocomplete fail,
right.
and like,
they have a spreadsheet, and hey, colon, first name, uncolon, whatever. Yeah.
And the clever ones are like, I really enjoyed your current video, quote, and then whatever the hell your most like it auto completes, and it's like, oh, did you? If I had the time, I'd love to respond. Or just, what did you enjoy about it?
Yeah. Well, it's like I get with review phones, every once in a while we'll get review sims along with it, and so I'll get on more than one occasion I've gotten a text message from a review phone saying your social security number has been flagged by the IRS, and we're gonna come after you, and there's a warrant has been issued for your request. And a couple of times I replied back, and I replied back and said, "Wow, that sounds scary. What's my social security number?"
Yeah. Just to make sure I'm talking to the right person here.
Yeah, right. Okay. Next question. How long do you take to write/film a proper review from the time you open the box to the time you push publish?
Used to be a day for each segment, right? So it was a day to write it, a day to film it, a day to edit it. That
sounds amazing.
I know. And when I came over from Picard to start MrMobile, it was amazing. But like, then, as we talked about earlier, like the nature of the work changed, and the actual process of writing became way longer, because he just didn't. It's harder to write something I'm proud of in a day, so it takes 2 days and 3 days. The edit ballooned too, because you find new ways of hopefully trying to keep people engaged through different visuals, and you film a lot more footage, so you got to sift through that. So now it's like, dude, and that's, by the way, that is after you've decided what you're going to say.
Right.
As you know, part of the process no one ever talks about. Right. So that's 6 days. Ideally. I mean, maybe if it's a phone that's so iterative, it's lame, then like 4 days, maybe.
Yeah.
But God, I sure don't want to ever do a review on a thing as complicated as a phone with less than 4 days of usage. Even 4 days feels.
Yeah, that feels a little on the short side, but
you're barely getting a couple battery cycles in there, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, one review that device that I have coming for Slash Gear has advertised 30-day battery life. I'm like, I'm gonna have to use this thing for like at least 45 days before I can even get a sense on that.
Who made it? Can you say?
Withings. It's the hybrid watch.
Oh, it's a watch. I was like, if it is a phone,
no,
it's not gonna have to wait 30 days.
It's an e-ink phone from Hisense,
right?
Oh.
What?
Yeah, no. It's the Withings scan watch
cool
deal.
Yeah.
So, but and it's like battery life alone takes forever. But
yeah, absolutely.
Truth be told, when I'm reviewing a device, I have 90% of the review written in my head in the first 3 hours of using the device. So
yeah, well, except when you don't know the price.
Right. Well, yeah. Then there's that. Then you're like,
drives me absolutely crazy.
Yeah, this could be an amazing deal, or this could be a terrible deal, and it could go either way knowing this company.
100%.
Yeah. Oh no, I totally agree with that. But yeah. Okay. We should move on before we start getting in trouble.
Good idea.
Has there ever been a product that you have received and tested that was ultimately so bad you decided not to review it? And without
Yeah.
naming names, if possible, what was it?
Yeah, man. It's happened a lot, and I used to think that was bad. So the most recent example to actually answer the question was a 3D printed, like super prototype, super early thing of a phone that could be cool because it's different. But I didn't
Okay.
realize how early it was. And when
Oh,
they
yeah,
sent
yeah,
it to me, I was like, "You guys, the back doesn't stand.
yeah.
Like it is falling. Like I have to hold it with two hands to keep it together."
Oh my God.
So sometimes, it's that.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Um, But
No,
when it's a product,
I
go ahead.
think in the spirit of this question, we're talking about a finished product that they're ready to ship.
Yeah, and when that happens, I used to say, I remember when I first got the guidance from my very first editor in chief, there was like, "Look, if it's this bad, we're not going to review it. We'll send it back to them." And I'm like, "Why the hell does anybody review anything then? Some stuff has to be a 2 out of 10. Like otherwise, why are we even doing this?"
True.
Yeah,
But
that's fair. That's a fair point.
it is. But like, because otherwise, what are we worried about? Are we worried about? Oh no, they're not going to send us units anymore. Cool. I have a budget to buy a $800 phone once a year. It's fine. I don't care about access.
Yeah.
What I care about now is the thing we keep coming back to, is this narrative thing. It's like, if I'm going to make a video about this, then it's going to be a video about something that tried and failed. And if I can tell a cool story about that and
Yeah.
remain honest, then cool. But it's not as fun. It's not as fun because I don't like shitting on people. It's not as fun because the comments are always worse, because there are always these fucking sycophants who show up for like brand X, maker of the world's worst shit, and they're like, "Actually, you're wrong. This is the best thing ever." And then they sit 3 paragraphs and you ban them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not as fun. It's more fun when it's a product that gets you excited.
I had an idea for a podcast after the one that I collaborated with Adam on.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
And the idea of it was called what was basically reviewing bad or potentially bad products. Usually it would be something that, as an example, like a pair of true wireless earbuds that's $15 and has all these advertised features.
Yeah.
And it was going to be called How Bad Could It Be?
Oh, yeah. Great idea.
But I stopped it because, for the same reasons that you're talking about. I feel like it would be fun for about 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And then the negativity, the negs would just take over me. And number one, I could become really mean-spirited, or I just wouldn't have fun anymore.
Yeah.
Plus, it's kind of a one-trick pony. Because there are a lot of bad products, but after a while,
Right.
We should talk about this off air, because this might be something that's worth resuscitating just as like a sub show
every once in a while.
Yeah,
It needs
like
to have
how
a
bad
pun
could it be?
name, though. We can't do it.
That's
No,
true.
yes,
That's
absolutely.
true.
I have no doubt that you'll come up with one of those. But
Down and out.
that ain't
No.
bad.
Yeah,
That ain't
I'm
bad. I
spitballing.
kind of
I
like
have a
it.
logo already
Spitballing.
done. I'm just like,
I'll say this. I think you've tapped into something, though, because even though this was another of our friends, I won't name him. He went into PR. He left the tech journalism space, and he was great. And I was like, "Dude, why are you leaving? The space is going to be worse off without you." And he said, he wasn't a dude who wrote like hit jobs. Like, he wrote very fair reviews, but he was writing a review about something, and he was getting really nitpicky, and he didn't like some stuff. And he said, "I saw myself writing this review, and I like flashed forward in my brain to 20 years in the future. And I said, this is going to make me a sad, bitter old man."
yeah.
Well,
And so that's when he started looking for ways to get out of it. I was like, wow, that's profound.
and then there's people like me who just made a career out of that.
Embrace it. Yeah. It suits some of us, doesn't it?
Yeah. My daughter once asked me. She's like, I don't remember what the word she used was, but she was basically like, "Why are you so critical of things?" I'm like, "It's kind of my job."
Literally my job. It comes and infects other parts of your life too. Sometimes
Oh,
I
it
don't know if you guys
does.
are like me. Yeah, because you'll get like somebody important to you ask you for feedback. You're like, it's not that great. And it's like, oh shit, did you just want to? What kind of answer did you want?
I will answer this question only after you answer mine. Have you bought it yet?
Yeah.
It does affect things and the way people react quite a bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just kind of have to go and take your reviewer hat off, I guess. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
Go
We
ahead.
got a few more questions to get through here, though. And
That's right.
we've already stayed longer than we promised Mr. Mobile we would keep him. So,
Fine.
and when Mr. Mobile got an appointment, he out. Yeah, I'm just
True
saying.
enough. Got an appointment to go pee out this beer I had. Yeah, go ahead.
Nice.
Fair enough. Do you prefer producing written content, audio content, or video content, and why? And actually, you're kind of unique because I mean, you don't write as often as you used to, but I mean, you do a lot of audio and a lot of video. So I'm just kind of curious.
I do write though. Like, I mean, all the reviews.
I mean, you write
are
scripts.
just
Okay,
scripts.
fine. That's
all
part
they
of
are.
video content. You don't get to count. You don't get to count that.
I'd have to, like, because that's all that makes a difference. Oh, El Jefe's back. El Jefe, we lost you for a while.
Sup, buddy?
Hashtag eat it. What was I gonna say? Yeah, look, the writing, none of the stuff I do works unless I'm writing. So writing is my favorite part.
Okay.
Filming is my least favorite part because it's tedious and annoying and dumb, and the light always changes, and I hate it.
Same.
And cameras and all that stuff. But the audio is also fun because that's a part of the thing. And, you know, people like listening to a particular my voice, I guess. So,
I'm curious, what mic do you have? I've been staring at it, and is that a Kef?
It's an a.k.a. C414 XLS.
No, fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for adjusting your audio levels so that I have to edit out later. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. But no, and
ASMR
you are
version of MrMobile.
I'm going to take this opportunity since Cliff brought it up. I'm going to commend you for shunning the talking head trend of tech reviews that so many people do, because I adore that about your videos, is that it's not just like,
thanks,
this is the phone that I'm talking about, and I'm going to spend 5 minutes talking about this with my very brightly lit background, and oh look, here's the phone again, and it's it gets under my skin.
Well, it gets under my skin too, and that's why we, when we were building MrMobile, I was like, it occurs to me that if someone is clicking on a video called Galaxy S4 or something, maybe the majority of the time should be spent on the Galaxy S4 from a camera
looking at the Galaxy S4.
Let's look at the product. Yeah, exactly.
So, all right. How do you deal with writer's block?
It's so freaking hard, man. I
know.
Like, it's, you kind of have to just survive until it passes. I find I don't have a quick way of.
I never said quick.
Yeah, no, there's no like when it really hits. It's like, I have a luxury, right? I can switch to another thing. You know how many weeks I've been planning on doing the S23 Ultra review that we talked about is very difficult to do. I switched to another thing. I'm like, I don't want to do that right now. I'll switch to a thing I can write about.
Yeah, there you go.
All
right.
I do the same thing, and it's with design work. Sometimes I just don't have it.
Yeah,
I have to just set it aside unless I literally have a deadline that's that day. But even then, I usually will just shift to something else, because the worst thing in the world is that blank white screen.
Yeah, for sure.
Whether it's the cursor flashing or you're in an Adobe suite.
Yeah, anyway. a blank white Photoshop document. Yeah.
But I will say though that, like, even though I can move my deadlines around, a deadline really does help. I had to.
Sure.
There's a video I'm making right now. It's not because I have a product deadline. I don't care about meeting the embargo date. It's there's a sponsor. I need to run a sponsor spot before the end of the month.
Yeah.
I've got to run a video. So that's helpful, because sometimes you just need to be punched in the kidney. You're just like,
okay. Every job I've ever applied for, when we've, had the, okay, so how can you best, achieve what your goals here is? I always tell people I work best when I'm given a headline and a deadline.
Yeah.
Just give me the topic, tell me when you need it by, and it will be done. I mean, that's it.
Yep. Yeah. Deadline is a remarkable thing for sharpening your focus.
Yeah. All right. Influencers, here to stay or a bubble waiting to burst?
Definitely here to stay, but, doesn't mean that the bubble won't deflate to points, and it moves around too, right? TikTok is having a moment right now. Thankfully not at the expense of long form. Long form is very healthy, and that's where the money is from an AdSense perspective and stuff. But I think it'll come and go. It'll come in waves, as most things do. Influencers are already a self-referential joke. They're easy to poke fun at, but it's a massive piece of the economy. So
understood. All right. Who is the first reviewer that you read / listen to / watch go to when reviews drop? And by the way, if you say Michael Fisher, you'll be on par with pretty much everybody else I've ever asked that question about.
Honestly, it really really depends on the product. I don't spend a lot of time watching tech YouTube, and when I do, it's like retro tech. Like I watch LGR. Like that's the number one thing I
lazy
say.
game reviews.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Like that channel has informed so much.
Cliff has to go change his shorts now.
Well, we recently did a podcast where we were talking about our favorite YouTube channels, and one of mine was LGR. Yeah.
One of the very few channels I watch religiously, and the other ones aren't tech channels. They're like aerospace channels and like space, like Mark Manley and Everyday Astronaut and that kind of stuff. So when a tech review comes out, the thing I do, and maybe you guys have some familiarity with this feeling, I will finish the review, and even if I love the device, my favorite feeling is taking my SIM out, putting it in something else, and just forgetting about it, because that's all I've been thinking about for 7 to 21 days.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it. I don't want to see. The only time I jump into YouTube and want to see other people's takes is when it's a product that is like something I really care about. Like I just watched everyone's Find N2 Flip reviews because I really care about that. The Surface Duo, like when it's a weirdo.
Yeah. I can get behind that. So, all right. Well, we're going to I'm gonna call an audible, and we're gonna throw in an extra question here, brought to us by Techuziast, I guess is how you. I guess is how you pronounce it. Techuziast.
He's the Techuziast.
Yes. Anyway, what are your thoughts about YouTube Shorts, since you hate TikTok with a passion?
I'm of two minds. It's a good question, and thank you for asking it. I think YouTube needed to do something to compete with TikTok. I think it's cool that YouTube is offering monetization options to creators, because I think they're going to probably pay a lot better than TikTok does, but they currently don't. Lon Seidman's been talking about this a lot. It's impossible to make any kind of money on YouTube Shorts right now, at least for channels like his. And I just wish YouTube would give us a separate feed for them. Personally speaking, old man hat on, I don't want to see them. I don't care. I hate shorts. I hate vertical video. I hate them. And unfortunately, they pollute the main subscriber feed, which if you watch YouTube on a TV, the last thing you want is to be scrolling through like one of your subscription lists. And there you go. Giant pillar boxes, shitty minute-long content, usually ripped off from Instagram, which was ripped off from TikTok, with somebody putting music that wasn't there originally. Why have music at all? And then you get no opportunity to learn anything because it's not designed to have a clickable description. So you can't go learn more. You just are supposed to stay inside the machine and be force-fed this pablum for people with attention spans that are 3 seconds long. I hate it. I wish it was gone forever.
Tell us how you really feel, Michael. I mean, it feels like you're sugarcoating here a little bit.
I'm holding back, aren't I?
I think you're absolutely right, though, Michael, because I think there is a place and it's needed for bite-sized content, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, to me, it's like the TJ Maxx of your stream, right? Because you go into TJ Maxx, it's literally like 8, it's pants, it's an iron, it's a rack for your spices all on one table. And I'm like, can we get this separated as something so that I can triage it?
Exactly. Right. And I want to say, like, I'm not criticizing the creators themselves, and because I think as the end product, again, I don't like it, but that is not to say that creating the end product is not difficult. It is so much more difficult to capture and retain someone's attention in 2 seconds than what I do, which is like, I know most of you who I'm talking to, I know are subscribers. So I know you're going to sit around and let me set the table for 90 seconds.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
Right.
Like, I shouldn't do that, but I do because I like doing it and people put up with it. In TikTok, you have to capture someone's, like, it's 2 seconds. If you don't catch someone's attention in 1.5 seconds, sometimes, they're scrolling to the next thing. That is way harder. I respect the hell out of the work those people do. The end product is often something I just really don't like, obviously.
Well, you know how it starts off is, first you got to capture their attention in 3 seconds, and then after a while you build up a following, then they subscribe, then you can capture their attention in 90 seconds, and then you build up that following, and pretty soon you have Star Trek Picard season 2, where we gave you 10 hours and you still didn't capture our attention, you jerks.
I wish, again, we've wished a couple times in it, or at least I have, that I wish I was a different kind of person, and I want that kind of flexibility. I want to be able to say, like, yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
It's fun to be able to experiment with something new, and I get that. I think I felt that way about Instagram stories, and I still do. I like Instagram stories, not reels, but
Yeah.
you know,
I don't.
the story format for some reason to me is just more appealing. So I'm not, I don't know. I just wish I could feel that way about TikToks and reels. And
All right, we
Hefner
got
makes
one
a good
last
point
question.
about money there.
Yeah.
We got one last question, and the dog objects to it. But anyway, if you weren't working in this field, what would you be doing for a living?
Oh my God. That's such a freaking scary, because sometimes I'll have nightmares that I'm not working in this field.
That you just got fired.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's me every morning.
Yeah, it's scary stuff, man. Like
I come down to my computer, sit down on and I'm always surprised when I'm still logged into Slack.
Yeah, my email still works. I feel you, man. God, if I had to,
especially after the last like month and a half to 2 months.
Oh my God, it's been a freaking bloodbath.
Yeah.
I stopped looking for new jobs just because I'm like, I'm gonna get fired in the first week anyway. It doesn't matter.
It's like I had a conversation when I was working one of my previous jobs. I was working at a marine supply store, and one of the things we sold was like model kits, and one of them was really, really popular, and it kept selling out. And I asked my boss, I was like, we need to order these again because they sold out again. He's like, nah, what's the point? Like, what? He's like, they're just going to sell out again anyway. Like, I don't know that this is the right way to run a business, but you're the boss. Okay.
I don't think that's a first world problem, but I'm going to put a pin in it just in case.
Oh God.
Oh man.
To answer your question, I would very much like to be a tour bus driver at Kennedy Space Center. That's what I'd like.
That would be awesome, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Each of those stars is 6 feet tall.
That's an extended callback too to the last time we had you on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what I say, because I can't think of anything else I would like to actually do. I don't know. Besides driving ferry boats in the East River, I think that'd be fun too.
Yeah.
Something that gets me outside and
sure.
Yeah.
And then one last question from the lightning round. I was in your city 2 weeks ago. Why the hell weren't you there? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm a combat pilot, Will. I belong in the air.
And my wife just yelled, "Hi, Fisher." So
hi. Sorry that I missed you.
No.
Also, New York is a big place, and now I live in a little part of it that's not accessible by anything but a boat. So,
wait, what?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to talk about that off the air.
Yeah, yeah. It's perfect for me. There's no subway, and yet I can see the city every night. I go to sleep and I look at the city. It's great.
Did you? I read an article.
Why do I feel like it has Jersey in the name? I'm just saying.
Yeah, how dare you, sir? What do you think? You got Shirley and Lowe on this show? Get out of here.
I read an article about a year ago, maybe, about a guy who got marooned on an island like in the Hudson River and could like see the city, but like was completely out of touch for like 3 days.
It's like the Far Side One tree with coconuts and just a little.
Yeah, well, there are a couple islands like that. I mean, there's in the East River. I know. I didn't know they were in the Hudson.
El Jefe, nice callback, sir. Boom! Look at that.
Oh my
Fisher
God.
finally moved to that sandbar permanently.
God bless you for being one of the very few people who watched that video.
That.
Yeah, that was in my
in New
hometown.
York. Okay,
Yeah, that's where I grew up. Yeah. Wow.
That is a
reviews.
Great, that's a great callback. And you know what? That's a pretty good place to. Now that we have like the highest number of people watching the stream that we've had all along, we got to go ahead and end the show.
Damn it. That's all right.
But
questions though. Thank you for giving me a little advance notice so I could think about them this time.
Absolutely. Well, Michael, I very much appreciate your time for coming on here and talking all things Michael. And I'm sure the next time we have you on here, we'll probably be talking about bendy phones again, and that's fine because that's
well better be. That's how I want to thank the chat too. I feel like I didn't give the chat enough love, but it was really great to see some real-time feedback. So thanks to everybody who watched tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming on. And this will be coming out in the main feed in just a couple of days. We're a little bit late on Beyond the Doud this month because, well, last month we didn't have one, so screw it. We figured we'd just come late this month. But anyway, no. But I wanted to thank you for coming on and spending some time with us, and we'll have to have you on again sometime soon.
I love you both. You're wonderful people. Thank you. It's been too long.
Thank you for being on. Absolutely.
And for everybody else listening, that is going to do it for this episode of the podcast. Please consider subscribing to this podcast if you enjoyed it. And if you really enjoyed it, I would love it if you would write a review for the show. If you're watching this on YouTube, click that subscribe button and smash that bell so you can be notified of new episodes and reviews as they drop. And if you want some early access, jump onto Patreon at patreon.com/benefitofadoud. I'd like to thank co-producer Cliff for all of his hard work behind the scenes, but most of all, and as always, I'd like to thank you for listening and for giving us the benefit of the Doud.